Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Studio. My name is Adam, and today I'm looking at Dragonfly Percussion's second generation Marimba Mallet series. Now before I begin, of course, I have to give a shout out to my studio VIPs, Carl Spence, Luke Uyamura. Thank you so much for your support. And today's featured studio artist is Dakota Reeves. Thank you so much for joining the family, Dakota. And if you'd like to be a studio artist or studio VIP to support the show, you can check it out at patreon.com/AdamTan, or you can click in the descriptions below, or you can click over here. And of course, I'd like to thank Dinesh and Janine from Dragonfly Percussion for sending me all of these marimba mallets, as well as the entire vibraphone mallet line for 2017. I really appreciate it. Basically, Dragonfly saw my first review of the Dragonfly Percussion mallets from 2014. That's a few episodes back. If you want to check that out, that's over here. And they said, hey Adam, this year we're releasing a brand new series of Dragonfly mallets that have improved on everything you said in that video. Here they are. And of course I said I'd showcase these on the show because I want to support Dragonfly, and also these mallets are just really, really cool. So thank you again, Dragonfly, for sending me these. I really appreciate it. So Dragonfly Percussion is a company that's based in Buffalo, New York. They make a lot of mallets. It's usually like orchestral mallets, like Glock mallets, xylophone mallets, chimes mallets, whatever. They have marimba mallets, as I'm going to showcase today, vibraphone mallets. They can even do custom mallets for specific needs. So if you want to check them out, they're in the description below. And what I really like about Dragonfly Percussion is that they keep the price point low, and they definitely try to innovate on things. For example, these marimba mallets. When I first reviewed these mallets, the first gen version, you guys were all like, wow, these mallets look so different. They look so unique because they look nothing like your traditional marimba mallets. Dragonfly definitely set a precedent when they released these, so that's really impressive. So firstly, let me explain the model lineup. There are 5 models in Dragonfly's marimba mallet collection, which is called the M series. So it's M followed by a number, and all of these models can come in birch or rattan, of course, and they are only $26 US per pair. $26 US is towards the low end of the market. It's quite affordable, so this is a very good choice for anyone who's on a budget. And when you think about the fact that you can have all 5 pairs for $130 US, it looks like a pretty good deal. Now, Dragonfly's marimba mallet designation goes from M1 to M6. So 1 is the softest, 6 is the hardest. So this is the M1, which is the soft mallet. Now, Dragonfly does not write M1 on the shaft. Instead, they just put a colored string around the top. So this one is brown colored. This blue mallet is the M2, which I think is considered a medium soft. It definitely feels like a medium soft. This is the M4. It's an orangey red color, and it's definitely considered a medium to medium hard. I would say it's right in the middle of those two hardnesses. It's the most general mallet of the 5 pairs. This yellow pair here is the M5, which is considered a hard. And this purple one is the M6. It's considered to be very hard. And believe me, it's super hard. Okay. Now you might have noticed just then I did not say M3 because there is no longer an M3 model. The substitute for the M3 is now this, which is the VS. This is Dragonfly Percussion's VS mallet, which is the soft vibraphone mallet, which is meant to be the substitute for the M3. Now, it has the same hardness as what you'd assume the M3 to be, which would be a solid medium, but it's definitely a brighter tone. And you can already see the difference between the VS and the M4, right? So this is why they got rid of the M3, because the heads just don't match. Like, the sound profile of this is completely different to the marimba mallets, which is why I'm also going to exclude them from this review. But of course, I will test the vibraphone mallets in a later video, so stay tuned for that. But for now, we're going to put these away. So that's the entire model lineup. 5 harnesses, very easy. Now, the first thing you notice about Dragonfly Percussion's mallets is these heads. So Dragonfly has tried to split the difference by having a mallet that's right in the middle of a yarn mallet and a rubber mallet, so something that's right in between. That translates to a lot of usage in ensemble, in orchestra, or just for a mallet where you want a lot of articulation. So again, for these mallets, we have rubber cores that are wrapped in cloth and tied with the string at the bottom, which denotes the hardness. Again, I like to call it the money bag design because they look like money bags. These second generation models definitely have a much tighter wrap around these bags if you like. The cloth definitely feels more resilient and feels more high quality than the previous model, so that's really nice. Well done, Dragonfly. Very tightly wound, definitely passes the studio squeeze test, well, mainly because there's nothing to squeeze.
Excuse me?
But having a design like this means that you're less likely to have mallets unraveling or loosening over time because there's nothing to unravel. It's a pretty solid head. Another thing they've improved on is the shape of their heads. They are much more consistent now. The heads are no longer wildly varied. They are very, very similar. The only one that's really different is the soft mallet. You can see it's a bit more like a tofu, whereas these are more like fish balls. So as you guys know, I really like my smooth birch shafts, and this one is not the smoothest in the world, but it's definitely pretty close. Like, it's a little bit rough, it's got a bit of texture. I think if you like your shafts lightly textured, this one will be perfect for you, but I'm personally indifferent. I think it's actually quite okay. So yeah, no problems here. Quite a nice feeling shaft, definitely doesn't feel like its price tag of $26. Great job, Dragonfly. Once again, all the mallets are stamped with Dragonfly's logo. You can see it's not quite straight because they obviously just stamp all of these really quickly, and that's completely fine. For the price, we don't need fancy engraving, we don't need little squiggles or little signatures or whatever. One thing that does bug me a little bit is that, again, there's no model designation. You have to rely on this color, which is hard to remember. But again, you can just write it yourself, or you could draw some lines to help you remember. It's not really a big deal. I actually really like this stamp because it reminds me that this mallet isn't that expensive and it's just a simple mallet, just like mallets should be. Now, one thing Dinesh from Dragonfly did say is that they have improved the shaft ends. They're much more smooth. They're made by a machine now. The rounding is a lot smoother. So I will say it, smooth ends make friends. Well done, Dragonfly, for improving on this point. It's definitely a lot smoother, and it's definitely up there with a lot of the smoother mallets in my collection. Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, overall, very well built mallets for the price, and having that head design means that they're basically indestructible. Indestructible! Now, what about ergonomics? Well, these mallets are definitely more on the weighted side because the cores are quite dense. I'm not sure whether that's intentional, but it actually feels quite nice in the hand. As you can see, they are relatively heavy. They're not 50-50 mallets. These are the sort of mallets where you want to get a big sound. So obviously they have that sort of big sound feel with that added weight. I have here the M1, which is the softest mallet, and I have here the M6, which is the hardest mallet. And as you can see, the weights are almost the same. Not exactly the same. The M6 is a little bit lighter, but overall, pretty much the same. The weight profiles are pretty matched, which means you can graduate these. I think these mallets work really well as 4 mallet mallets, but as 2 mallet mallets, they really come into their own with that weight and with that feel. They don't bounce as much as something like the wave wraps, for example, but they definitely give you a lot of sound. And then we come to the sound, and as I said, these mallets are known for being on the articulate side because, again, they are a cross between your yarn mallets and your rubber mallets, so they are bound to be more articulate than your yarn mallets. So I'll let you listen to the sound test first. Let me know what you think in the comments below of these mallets. I had to play something that was dragon related because this is Dragonfly Percussion after all. Let's see if you can pick it out. So what did you think? Did you think the mallet sounded good? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure Dragonfly would love to hear your feedback. And yeah, I hope you liked my dragon reference. If we go through all of the harnesses one by one, I think for 4 mallet work, the brown ones and the blue ones, so the M1 and the M2 are some of my favorite mallets. They're soft, but not too soft. They definitely still have a bit of punch to them. Despite the fact they have this money bag design, they actually make quite decent rolling mallets, and they just feel really nice. The red M4 you can use on any range of the marimba. I feel like it's a really nice general mallet, even though it ventures between medium soft, medium to medium hard. You can use it anywhere, and it works really well in a graduated setup. So yeah, I really like this one. The M5s, these yellow mallets, are pretty hard. I would not use them below middle C. They definitely sound quite good as a top mallet in a 4 mallet setup, or top 2 mallets in a 4 mallet setup, or at the very top of the marimba, they sound great. They also sound really good as a 2 mallet solo mallet if you want to get that real sound. Overall, a very good hard mallet. And finally, the M6, which is the purple mallet, the hardest mallet in the collection. And I have to say, this mallet is so hard. This mallet punches you through your soul. Like, it is that hard. I think this mallet is really good for the top register of a marimba, or if you're in a setting like a huge orchestra where you need to be heard, something like that. These speak really clearly. But I would not use them in the low register or the middle register. I was trying really hard not to crack my bars when I was using this. This is so hard. I don't really see this being used in a graduated setup. It's definitely more of a 2 mallet or a specialist sort of mallet. If you put this in a 4 mallet setup, it just sounds way too different to the other mallets. But overall, a very good, super hard mallet, if you're into that sort of thing. But the studio seal of approval definitely has to go to the M4s. I really like these. You can use them for quite a lot of purposes. So if you're just dabbling into Dragonfly's mallets, this would be a good first buy. Hit me with that seal. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and please give a like to Dragonfly Percussion's Facebook page if you haven't already, in the description below, because I like supporting the smaller companies in the percussion industry. And I'm not paid by them at all. I'm not sponsored in this video, but it's really nice that they sent me these mallets for a show like this so that you guys can see more of their stuff. And if you haven't already, please click that red subscribe button below to keep up with my uploads. We are almost on 2,000 subscribers. That is insane. Thank you so much for all of the support. And of course, if you have any suggestions, any questions, anything you want to see on the show, anything you want to know about me, just leave it in the comments below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And of course, if you want to get one of these hoodies, you know where to find them, in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video once again, and I will see you next week for another episode of The Studio. Good night.